Hey everybody, it's me, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and today, just a couple of days away from my 42nd birthday, I want to talk to you about my top 5 collecting regrets. We all have regrets when it comes to collecting, whether it was spending too much for something that we thought was going to be a key or maybe in better condition than it was, getting rid of an item or a book, or maybe not taking care of something the way we thought it should have been taken care of. Maybe we weren't mature enough to have fully grasped the concept of what it would be worth. Um, but everybody has some collecting regrets. Nobody has ever gone their entire collecting career without racking up one or two things that they wish they could have done differently. I'm going to go over my top 5 with one honorable mention. My honorable mention is that I did get rid of first print of Edge of Spider-Verse 2, the first Spider-Gwen. I traded that in with a lot of comics, a bunch of keys to Bookman's back in Labor Day of 2018. I got a good amount of trade, definitely more than I would have got if I had sold them off individually or if I'd sold them off as a lot. And plus, it would have taken a really long time to do so. I still think about, if I should have gotten rid of that book or not. But, these are all things that even though you regret them or you think about them, uh, you you can't do anything about it now. Um, I am wearing my Blue World Order vintage ECW t-shirt, probably for the last time because I am actually working on finalizing a deal with somebody on Facebook to trade all of my ECW vintage t-shirts for some pretty good key comic books. One of those key comic books that I thought was in the deal was in one of the pictures and is not available anymore and is actually number 3 on this list. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I picked these shirts out in the early and mid 2000s and I bought them on eBay. They're worth a lot more now than they were back then, but I was still really into ECW, and not that I don't of it now. But it's a chance for me to kind of move beyond certain things, and that's what I'm starting to think of in these moments. But part of me wants to keep one or two of these shirts, but if I keep one or two of these shirts, like, does the deal completely go through? So either way, it could be a potential regret. Um, that being said, number 5 on my list, and the reason it's so low is because it got corrected, was selling my DC Direct Blackest Night Atrocitus Red Lantern figure. I sold it at the Tucson Toy Show 2 years ago in 2018 or 2019. That was the first year that I tabled there. And didn't really want to sell it, but it was one of the big figures that I had and got a good amount of money for it, way more than I paid for it. So in a way, it's not so bad. But since then, I've repurchased the figure from Bookman's last year, I believe, and so it's it's not as bad because I got it back. But still kind of a regret, but low on the list. I'm not sure if this one should be number 4 or number 1, but number 4 regret on my collecting regrets: buying as many copies of New Mutants 98 as I've owned in my life. It's at least 4, if not 5. Only one did I pay a premium for. Most I either got for cover or 10 or 15 bucks or something like that. But still problematic in the sense that I don't even like the character Deadpool. So, uh, and it's an overhyped book. It's stuck around the $300 range. Why? Because there's millions of copies laying around, and most of them are in fantastic condition. It's not a rare book. Um, so yeah, 4 or 5 purchased copies of New Mutants 98. All of them are gone. One of them was in that lot to Bookman's. That I don't regret getting rid of course. Um, Number 3, which is, like I said, part of the whole t shirt exchange thing. Selling my copy of What If number 105. I loved the Spider-Girl series. The only thing I didn't really care for with the Spider-Girl series is I felt like the artwork was a little clunky for something that was supposed to be kind of young and hip, and they could have used like a more fluid art style. The dynamic nature of the character and the fact that this character was a cult character while she was around, like while the book was going on. It's not like the book got canceled and people got all nostalgic about it like they do for Firefly. People were nostalgic for this book while it was out. Sales were just really poor. And that could be because Marvel didn't hype the book very well. It could be because the artwork wasn't that fantastic. It could be that some people saw it as derivative because there were already a ton of Spider-Man books, and then here you introduce his daughter, who's also got, you know, pretty much the same powers, plus the rest of the MC2 line. Of them, Spider-Girl was the only one that was really, really well received. At the time, A-Next was not that great. Wild Thing was not that great. It was really Spider-Girl that carried that line. And in doing so, outlived everything else. But at the same time, I don't think was promoted as well. So I don't think it was as appreciated as well as it could have been. Most Spider-Girl books now you can find in the dollar bin or the quarter bin. But at the same time, What If number 105 was the first appearance of May Parker. And when her powers kicked in was really cool. And that was one of the books that I thought was part of this deal, but the individual told me that that book had just sold, even as that post was still live. Number 2, not buying a copy of Giant Size X-Men number 1 when I could have for probably about $200 or $300. Wasn't a great copy. It was probably a mid-grade 3, 4.0. But even then, at that point in time, I think it was like about $1,000, $900 to $1,000 book. The shop that I went to at that point in time, Captain Spiffy's Comic Emporium on University Boulevard, had a copy. They kind of had it behind the counter. It wasn't like a wall book or anything. It was something that the owner would just show people who might be interested in it. And he showed me the book, and he said that it was part of his personal collection, that he was looking maybe to sell it. I even asked him, I was just like, would you take payments? Because, you know, I ain't got $300. I was 18, 19 at the time. He said he would, but I never took him up on that. And so I don't know if I would still have that book now if I had purchased it then, but that's something that maybe I could have pulled off at that point in time. Still living at home. So I probably could have very easily saved a couple $100 and just paid that off really quick. And the number one regret, even though I've got another copy right here, is selling my second copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 129. Back in the earlier mid-2000s, I purchased 2 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 129. I purchased my All-Star Comics, it's 58, first Power Girl, off of eBay, and was hurting for money at one point. And so I took a stack of books to Fantasy and sold them off, including What If 105, and at that point, 2 copies of New Mutants 98. And I really didn't get that much money for it. I think the amount of money I got for that stack of books is what I paid for that copy of Amazing Spider-Man 129. And I think within that same lot of books, I also sold an ASM 300 and an ASM 252. And I think 298 and 299 as well. So those were some key books, even back in the mid 2000, I don't even know when it was, but key bunch of books for $90. You know, can't do anything about it. You got to kind of move past it, just like when you make mistakes in life. You do something wrong at work, you do something wrong at school, you make a mistake on the comic book you're working on. You say something to somebody you care about that maybe you shouldn't have. You got to work on moving past it. And the cool thing is that because this is circling around with my birthday, it's really important for me to live now and not live that. So that's what I try to encourage everybody to do. If you're going to do something, live now. Take care of yourselves. Take care of everybody else. In addition to what's going on with the pandemic, there's a lot of other crazy stuff going on in this world, in our world, in the United States, in Arizona, everywhere around the country. And I'm just hoping everybody takes care of themselves and takes care of each other and recognizes that human beings deserve to be respected. And part of that is taking care of each other, being polite, being cordial, watching out for each other when something is happening, that you stop bad things from happening. Because, as the saying goes, the only thing for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. And I'll go further than that. The only thing for the status quo to continue is for good people to say nothing, to do nothing. In that, wear your masks, wash your hands, be good to each other, watch out for each other. Keep your phones charged, keep them ready. But most importantly, when somebody is going through something, friend, family member, community member that you've never met before, if somebody's having a rough time, listen to them. You don't have to ask questions. You don't have to make it about yourself. Just be there. Be present in this moment. That's really all I have to say. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and everybody around you, and I will talk to you soon. I didn't necessarily mean for this to get so serious, but collecting regrets, sometimes part of life regrets. Maybe we didn't speak up for somebody. Maybe we didn't do something that we should have that could have made a difference. We can't do anything about that now, but we can do something about it now. Until next time, stay anti-hero strong.